You'll use AI to check this data for you, connect it to your server. With you talking with AI, it will give you some cases, some reasons. I think it's important for you to learn this. Again, just like in the last video, I showed you how we're able to create a web application to connect or integrate different tools like YouTube, Meta Ads, and so on, and then put that in one place. So in here, we have two setups. So it could be with RunCloud. For this one, it's using Hetzner. So the way you do this is first is have your Claude Code open. So for this one, I'm using the web application for Claude. Hi guys, Anika here, and in this video, I'm gonna show you how to connect to your web server with the help of Claude. And I think it's important for you to learn this so that, again, just like in the last video, I showed you how we're able to create a web application to connect or integrate different tools like YouTube, Meta Ads, and so on, and then put that in one place, gather the data so that you have a better understanding of where you stand, what content you have for your membership platform, or any details or data that's important for you that you think you want to check or improve your membership platform business. So in here, we have two setups. So it could be with RunCloud. For this one, it's using Hetzner. So RunCloud with Hetzner, if you connect the two, then there's an option here that says SSH. And then with that, it could give you like a public key, and you need to feed that in your AI, which we'll do in a bit. Another one, if you have Vultr, you could connect to the console in here, and then you could ask for that public key. So that's the one that I have used for this. Now, example for RunCloud. So the way you do this is first is have your Claude code open. So for this one, I'm using the web application for Claude. I'm under Claude Code. And then it's under local projects. You could create a new one. Maybe I'm just going to create test. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to store this folder. And then for this one, I could start talking to Claude. Now, from what I remember, if you have just installed Claude, it's gonna ask you to install Git. So just follow the instruction. You could even ask Claude directly to do it for you. I always tell like I'm a newbie, please help me, and then as much as it can, it will help you set up anything that you need to set up. So first is we're gonna ask some questions. Okay, hi, I need to connect to a web server. I do have the IP, and I could also create a public key. Can you help me SSH through it? So it's going to ask for server IP, username, and so on in here. Now, you could also do this, by the way, using via terminal. So I'm kind of comfortable in the terminal platform, but again, really similar functionalities. But if you're in the terminal, you are of course gonna install Claude. And if you haven't installed Claude in the terminal yet, you just ask this in the Claude code. Okay. Now I already installed it, so I'm just gonna call Claude, and with that, it's gonna ask to trust the process, and then allow, and then that's it. So again, you could do the same flow if whether terminal or here. Okay, but we're gonna stick for this purpose in here. Okay, now for this one, I'm gonna give it IP. So I have the IP here, and then I know that the username is And then I'm just gonna say, it says is checking if there's an existing SSHK. I think it will find that because I know I have already connected to the server. But if it doesn't have that yet, just follow the instruction. And again, you could always like allow one so that it doesn't do things that you don't want it to do. With this, it's gonna keep on asking you question and you keep on answering if it's yes or no, and so on. So good news, you already have the key. So again, it already found the key. But again, if you haven't connected to the server yet, it will guide you exactly for what you need. Allow once. You've reached it before and so on. So again, I'm just gonna allow this. And then if it's not yet connected, you're gonna need to set up your public key here. So example, in here, you just label it with anything and then select a user and then save. Once you save that, it's gonna generate this key. And that's the key that you need to feed in to your Claude. So this one, it says, good news, okay, the server is already in your known host. Here's the situation. So the server is reachable, but your current key isn't authorized yet for RunCloud users. It rejected the key, password, and so on. Okay, so I think I have the password, so I'm gonna try to provide that. So whenever you set up, so first RunCloud. Add the key via RunCloud dashboard. So option A is install the existing public key. One command, log in with the password directly. I have the password. Where do I paste it? Now, when the password is being asked, in most cases, Claude will want you to not put it in the chat. Instead, it's going to give you some instruction. So it's asking me to run it in the terminal. So we have the terminal open earlier. So this is with Claude. So I need to open a new one. So new window. And then I'm going to follow that instruction. Already installed. If you're fronted, install the new keys. So now it's asking for the password. So I'm going to paste the password. And then the password is not going to be shown. That's fine. Should be blank. And then it says permission denied. So let me just check here. So I have system user, RunCloud. Maybe I'm going to create a new one. So let me try Nikalui. And then I'm just going to generate a password. And then I'm going to save that in my notes here. And then use password. Yep. And then save. So I'm going to try that again. Okay. So, and let me track SSH because I think I need to create a new one. So I'm just going to create a new one, the Nikalui. And then for the user, it needs to be the one that I just created too. And then save the key. Oops. Okay. So it's going to need to be add a new one, the Nikalui and so on, and public key. So there was an instruction to put the key. So I think we need to follow that. Okay. So this one. So let's do the option 2. Option 2. And then save the key. Okay. So it now saved the keys. Now let me talk to my Claude again. So this one. I'm going to say, so actually, let's do option 2. I created a new user and I just save or added this key you provided. Okay, so it's gonna test if it's working. So again, if you are stuck like this one, just tell it what you have, what you see. You can even take a screenshot of exactly how it looks in your end, and it can guide you. When I started this, I was not very, again, I'm not good in talking via terminal and so on. So whenever I interact with it, I just took a screenshot, ask more questions, try to do it again, and so on. So now it says connected and so on. Just run. No password, handles automatically. Okay. Want to type. Okay. Okay, great. So we're now connected. Which again, it already tells that it's connected, but I just want to make sure. One small clarification to actual so I need to it says I need to do this in the terminal. So I'm gonna terminate this and I'm gonna do a new window. Try that. And then, yep, we're here. So we're already here. Okay, so first is your computer is already connected to your server. So you could ask questions. So first is I'm gonna say, can you check if you can find the website members at the online dog trainer.com in this server? And then remember, keep it under ask for permission, especially if you're not yet comfortable. In my end, I usually just set it to the danger mode, which is this one. But again, if you're new to interacting with your server today, I just keep on approving things manually until you get to the point that you're already comfortable with it and you know what it's doing and so on. You could even tell it to say, make sure you don't overwrite things, okay? Put that in your memory and then it will remember that. So it's asking for permission to review things and so on. So this one says limited result, then it can use permission. Okay. Allowance. Okay. So it found that. Yes, found it. So it found the location, DNS, and so on. So it says it's a WordPress site served by Open Lightspeed and so on and so forth in here. Okay, so now I could ask question like, can you check how many users are in that WordPress site? So you could start with simpler questions. Okay. And then again, I'm just gonna allow this once, but again, once you get comfortable, you could skip that and just says always allow. Okay. This one you could switch to that one. It says failed permission. So let me point to the right path. So it says I'll track the user count. So this is a very simple way of knowing things. Again, you could find all of this information in the dashboard, which is already provided by WordPress dashboard for you since then. But with this, you could, once you understand what's happening on the back end, once you understand without even logging in, right? This one could give you more details. For example, if there's a failed payment, it could even give you more details of what happened rather than just what's in the WordPress dashboard that says WooCommerce says failed payment, blah blah blah. But with you talking with AI, it could give you some cases, some reasons. Could even check one table to another and tell you more details about that, which for me is very powerful. So let's just wait for this to finish. Now, if you want, I think you could also interrupt Claude while he's doing stuff. So let's try if it works, okay? While waiting. Okay, so I could not. This one is stop. Okay. While waiting, can you make sure that my SSH config to this server is saved in this computer so that next time I don't need to do it again? Can you remember that this connection is for Claude Hetzner server? I was gonna read that. So let me log in here while waiting so that we can compare. And then I'm also going to try to talk to Claude via terminal because this one says model overloaded. So I'm going to try in here. Okay. This one. Hi, can you connect to my I think it's already. So it detected that, connected successfully. Okay, this one is kind of stuck. Okay, so let's try in the terminal if it's faster. So I need you to check the app. So I already know the name of the app. So the app TODT MEM3, it's a WordPress site. I need to know how many users are in there. So this one is not stuck, but there's one error. Let's check. Found that. Let me count. Bashline permission denied. User list. That's a lot. Let me break down by rule. Make sure it's not counting something weird. So there's an error, and we could check this later for what it means. But let's see if it could count that. Okay, so this one is much faster. So as you can see, this one is still stuck, but this one give us the number in a few seconds only. So I think I'm gonna stop. I think I could. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue in here. So this one, we're gonna leave that. So we're already connected. So in here, terminate. So it says 1,129 subscribe, 1,000 plus subscriber, 53 other rules, 6 admin. Okay. I could ask some question like, how many LearnDash courses we have? So this one is jumping off and it's asking to blah, 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 permission to shortcut. Now I'm going to deny this because we already connected in here. Okay. So I'm just going to deny and then that will stop working. So I'm going to check here. So it says you have 33 published courses. So 33 published courses, 666 lessons, and so on. And now I could ask more questions like, who is my most active users or member? So let's track a few things. Let me track activity, table, and LearnDash, engagement, and so on. Well, the user John, it's our test account. So it says probably not what you want. So let me filter the real members, which is great. So it came up with Cheryl, Mary, Joanne, Karen, and so on. So these are my top members based on LearnDash events activity, which is again great because it gives me at least that idea and so on. Now I could ask more question like, if you check my courses, which is the most popular? Let me just use my audio. when I say popular, I mean most enrolled in, and then even if they don't complete it right away, but still the most visited courses maybe in the past 90 days. So let's ask that. So as you can see, I could ask this question here. And again, if you're already good with LearnDash report and so on, great. But in my opinion, working with LearnDash, one of the side that I am really not so satisfied is the reporting side. Before we use Jet Engine and so on to generate this kinds of report, which takes a very long time, especially if you're just wanting to pull the data. But with here, you could just ask that question and decide later what do you need. Do you need a custom dashboard, or is this data enough? Would you like this to be exported in an Excel file, or do you need a proper documentation and so on? So it's up to you, but at least it gives you this detail. So what it says is, by all time enrollment, the dog coming code is the most course that's enrolled. And then by active users in the past 90 days, it's also the DCC, so the dog coming code. Next is the solve reactivity aggression. So we have number of enrolls, we have number of active users, and number of events which is visited. So as you can see, this is a very few questions that we have run, but it's very simple, very direct to the point. But as you can see, it's very helpful. Like I did not even sign into the WordPress site, right? Now, again, try to figure out how to connect to your server properly first. In my experience, I was trying to connect to a cPanel type before, but I was not able to. I'm not sure if they changed things since AI came. Maybe they allow those permissions now, but before I wasn't able to connect. But work with your server hosting support. Tell them that you want to connect to your server via SSH using Claude and you need this public keys and so on. Maybe they could guide you, or maybe they're gonna tell, sorry, you don't allow that. So it's up to your platform. But I suggest signing up to a server that allows you to do that, because as you can see, you could do lots and lots of things, right? Now, that's the example of how to connect with Hetzner, with RunCloud to your SSH. And again, if you're using Vultr, you need to sign in here. So there's a root password and username. And then here it's going to say, so sign in. So it says root, and then it's going to ask for that password. So I need to copy that, but I don't remember being able to copy this and paste it here. But they have this functionality where you could clipboard. Yeah, so you type in the password here, the one that you copied, and then you paste that, and that's gonna work. And then just ask Claude that says, hi, I'm in a Vultr server. I need your help. How do I connect to this? And again, it's gonna guide with your mistakes, correct it, and so on. So it's gonna help you with that. Now, if you're happy with this and you think, with this data, I think I want a simple, maybe dashboard and so on that I could see, right? So I could ask it to do that. Now, if you want to be fancy, you could go to Claude Design and ask you to design the UI first. But if you just want a very simple one, you could also tell it to, can you maybe create a very simple HTML page where I could see this report. I prefer looking at visual data like with charts and graphs. Simple one will work. So we could ask it that. You could also, again, be more complex like Next.js and so on if you already decided about that. This one says, I'm going to build a clean single file HTML to report with chart and save it in your desktop. So let's wait for that. So it's now 8:47 a.m. here. So let's see how many minutes it will take before it can complete this. So while waiting, again, I just want to share like how great this feels that you're able to talk to your server. And so it's asking for a question. Yep, allow during this session. So it says, I want to create a TODT mem3 report.html. Yep, allow that. So it's so great that you could now, yep. So it's asking to access your desktop in this computer. So just allow that. Okay. So now it's so fast. So it's now just few. So that's just a very fast one. Well, I know it's very simple that we ask. So it just take very few minutes, right? I was just trying to share how great it is that you can now talk to your server via AI and ask this question, ask you to do things. But for this one, you can see that for this, here's your HTML file. So this data was already given to us in the terminal, right? But this is visually much easier to digest. So you could use this in your reporting. And then, so as you can see, number of users, number of subscribers, published courses, and so on. And then top courses, and then most active members. So as you can see, even this, I think this is much powerful than what LearnDash reporting has provided before. I'm not sure if they have updated the plugin now because I know LearnDash was also changed to another name. I think it was MemDash if I'm not Mem LearnDash to MemDash. I forgot, but again, it was changed to something. But as you can see, this is very powerful. You could even hover things, right? Now, if you don't like this and you say, I don't like this layout, let me work with Claude to create a new one. So first, I'm gonna ask the Claude here because my screenshot is not working. So, can you take a full screenshot of this page, save it in my downloads folder? So let's check if it could do that. So, okay, so allow action, capturing screenshots. Okay, so it's blocked by permission. Anyway, let me use another tool here. So just want to scrolling. Okay. Okay. And then I'm gonna open Claude Design and I'm gonna ask it to do something. So here, design. So it's Claude AI /design. And then here, I'm gonna paste it here. And then I'm gonna say, can you please improve this layout? I need to use this for team reporting. And then I will feed your design to Claude Code later. But I just need a much better UI and representing this data report. So let's just give that information and see what it gives us. So let's see how many minutes. So 8:53. Let's allow this to wait for it. So this one says Claude is temporarily overload. Try again. Okay, so I'm not sure if we could do that with that. So let's try different model. Try now. Okay, so sometimes it is overloaded like that. So you just need to check if there's a option that it gives you. Sometimes it's even down. So you just need to adjust with that one. So is that some question? I'm gonna pick this side for me for everything because this to be very quick, and then I want it to be blue. Decide for me. No, this one. Continue. And then for the code, still in here. So again, you could continue to ask more questions. tweak some of the data in the HTML file if you don't like it. But you could ask even WooCommerce data. You could ask which plugin is causing lots of. So maybe let's ask this while waiting for the Claude Design. Based on the web app data, which plugin is causing the most server load? So let's see what it says. And then the Claude Design is also working on the design, which is much, much better in my opinion than this one, right? So this one is the HTML file. This one is the Claude Design. So it's still working, adjusting, tweaking things, and so on. Refining. Membership report icon is not function. Again, just wait for it to complete. You don't need to do anything until it says it's done. So it's even checking for some issues. And I really like how big the font is. It's just much easier to, see. It's still working. So let's see. Our Claude Code is also still checking. So which plugin is the most heavy? Okay, it says for design. So it's even, yep. I like this, of course, compared to this. But again, same data, right? It's just more on improve UI. And then if you don't like certain things, I could say, what about? Okay, so I think I like it all, unless you have a specific like instruction. I think I'm good with this, or maybe let's just this one. Change the icon to a graduation hat. Let's see. And then let's check our code. Okay, so here's the results. So it still needs more access. Again, you could provide that. You could continually work on your Claude Code to get this more data, but load contribution first is the most one is LearnDash. GamiPress. This is based on the database. So there could be more sections that I think will make more sense, like live activity and so on, if you feed it more information. But just LearnDash, GamiPress, BodyBoss, Memberium, and then Fluent Form. And then, but example for this one, I think we have turn off Memberium. Maybe there is some stuff that's left. So I'm going to check, example, with this theme. So at least I know that in here. And then Fluent Form, why is it giving that? It's because of the log. So again, we could check this and clean that out. But with this, it could give you more details without guessing, right? If you're just going to go to the dashboard and say, so which we already know since then that LearnDash KV Body Boss is heavy. But what are these other sections? Why is it causing heaviness based on AI's review? So again, we could check that, right? So for this one, okay, so it now changed that to graduation hat. Now, if you're happy with this, great. Then you could save, share, export that to HTML files, as you can see, or you could send this to Claude Code and you could tell, hey, I have created a new design. Can you please follow this? Here's the Claude Design link. And it can read that, download the file, and so on for you. So I hope this quick tutorial for how to connect to your server helps. You've seen the mistakes of inputs and how AI help us correct those. You've seen exactly what are some of the questions that we could ask. But again, there's more to it. So it's kind of like imagination is your limit, right? So I hope you could You'll use AI to check this data for you, connect it to your server, talk to it, ask some questions so that you'll know better what's happening in your membership platform. So that's it for this video. If you have any question, feel free to comment that down below. And in the next video, I'm gonna show you more on like example layout that I'm working on some of the website or some ideas that I had before, which was kind of sound like impossible to build, but now with AI, very excited to play more on those layout because now there's like really no limitation. It's just, of course, time, energy, research, and so on. But today it could help you build those. So yeah, I'll share more of what I learned. And again, if you have any question, comment down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.